think Kate is on her way. And Sylvia, I don't think you've been here before on this meetup, have you? Or is my memory just not very good?
No, no, it's the first time. I have the app just, since few days, maybe few weeks. And so I just realized that there are these meetups and, so
Beautiful. Nice. Welcome. Where are you calling in from?
now I am in Sardinia. I'm from Italy, from Livorno. You know Comale and Raldo?
Yeah,
Yes, from that town.
beautiful.
Yes.
Oh, so nice to have
Okay.
you here. Hello, Kati.
Hello everyone. Nice to see you all. Mm. And that's
Just
nice,
making.
Livano. That's perfect. Mm. Kamal and Heraldo are building a center there in Livano, so that's wonderful. Yeah, yeah, great. Okay, so we could start. Welcome everyone. So I'll share some slides with the teachings, and then after we can have questions and shares. Nice to see everyone. Mhm. Okay. Okay, I have it in one moment here. Okay, we start here with the choice that we have. I guess everyone has heard about open intelligence, and then the crystal ball is a perfect metaphor here. So, which is a powerful metaphor for our indestructible open intelligence, our mind. And here we have a choice. We either focus on the content of our mind, data, or on open intelligence. So this kind of choice that we have in every moment is really powerful, and we recognize that we actually don't need to focus on the content of our mind.
Everybody will get bigger.
That we
Full screen gallery.
moment,
And
I'll
make your
just yeah, perfect. That we can rest as open intelligence, which is the nature of mind. In this case here, when we look at a crystal ball and all the reflections in the crystal ball, they reflect equally, no matter what it is. This is a beautiful reflection here with the sunset. Could also be all kinds of reflections that we call negative. And still the crystal ball is unaffected. It's indestructible. And when we focus on the content of our mind, then that's what we see, just the descriptions and the content of the crystal ball. And then we don't recognize the indestructibility and the clarity aspects of the crystal ball. And the same is with our mind. So open intelligence is something about us that is always stable and clear. Just like a crystal ball is unaffected by whatever images appear, the nature of mind, open intelligence, remains lucid and clear, regardless of the data. That's all the thoughts, emotions, and sensations that arise within it. So taking a short moment of open intelligence is a short moment of stability, clarity, ease, no matter what is appearing right now, no matter what we are thinking right now, or feeling, sensing, experiencing. This is the energy of open intelligence. Open intelligence is at the basis of all these data, of all the content of our mind. And so this choice that we have, the way we choose, the way we describe everything. So we either describe everything, good and bad, and all the labels we have for our thoughts, emotions, and experiences. And it's not about not describing them, but if we only describe them with the labels, with that aspect of the appearance, then that's all we see. And so what we do is simply acknowledge, we simply recognize our natural state, open intelligence. That's all that is occurring. Practically, it's as simple as a datum appearing, and then initially we choose the restfulness of everything. That data rests in the basic state. It rests in the basic space of our own intelligence. So we choose the restfulness of the basic space of open intelligence rather than a story about the data. We don't follow after the story and try to show that the story really exists. We can't do anything else. Yeah, so we all know that in our own experience, that when data, feelings, thoughts arise, there's a story around and we elaborate on the feelings, why we feel that way, or how that's caused by something or someone, and all the how the story can unfold, grow bigger. And when we know about open intelligence, the basic space of open intelligence that is naturally present and includes and contains all data, then there's a choice that we can make to rest as open intelligence and allow these data to be as they are, rather than emphasizing them and following after the story and basically indulging into all of these appearances, all these data. You can do this one.
It makes no difference what data, thoughts, emotions, and sensations arise. In open intelligence, it is impossible for there not to be a soothing openness in which they vanish naturally, leaving no trace, like ripples disappearing in water. At that point, in the wake of their vanishing, identify open intelligence, relaxed and enormously potent. Yeah, we can. All these sentences here are essentially instructions that we can follow and really test, check out in our direct experience. So, for example, we can, if we really, really look at our thought stream, for example, like just picking out the thoughts now, it could also be emotions or sensations, but with thoughts, it's really powerful that we can see that if we allow the mind to rest for a moment and we see all the thoughts constantly coming and going, in that settling, as we see the thoughts just disappear, arise, disappear, it's impossible to not to hold on to any of them. We can't hold on to any thought. We might have a thought that we have been thinking about something all day, I don't know, maybe something that happened in the past or something we are afraid of happening in the future. But if you really examine that, what really happens is there is a constant stream of lots of different thoughts. And as we rest as that crystal ball-like nature of mind, and we just allow that stream to flow exactly as it is, we recognize this relaxation, this ease that's already present in the crystal ball-like nature of mind. So we don't need to create relaxation or ease. We recognize the innate ease of open intelligence. Fear, anger, irritation, relationship issues, money worries, food, entertainment, pain continue to arise and flow on by. It's really powerful to know that open intelligence isn't a way to avoid these things, They are all part, you could say, of living a human experience, a life with all these different experiences. But if we rest naturally as open intelligence, the awareness that's at the basis of all experiences, we can allow them to flow however they will. Open intelligence saturates all reified data continuously as it becomes increasingly obvious to us that all data are pure beneficial energy. So we recognize in that settling as open intelligence that we don't have to have different experiences. That's what, at least for me, most of my psychological and self-help and spiritual practices were essentially efforts, attempts of mine to change my experience. You know, like not feeling depressed, but be happy could be a simple one. Or then later on, also not to have so-called negative emotions that I felt were in the way of realization, like feeling desire, for example, or feeling anger, and instead trying to cultivate more positive, more holy emotions. And as we rest as open intelligence, we can see that all of the emotions, whether we deem them positive or negative, are really just the flow of that dynamic energy of open intelligence. And like weather pattern in space, they leave space, the space of open intelligence, unaffected. So we don't have to do anything to any of our experiences. All we do is rest as open intelligence. Continue here.
You no longer need to imagine that open intelligence is a special state or destination we need to reach. We instinctively recognize that all data are the dynamic energy of open intelligence. So sometimes we think that open intelligence, obviously we all think that open intelligence is a certain experience or a certain state or even a destination to reach. And that becomes also increasingly more clear and obvious that once we know open intelligence, when we are introduced to open intelligence, that everything is included and contained as open intelligence. So we instinctively recognize that all the data, so all experiences, all states, are the dynamic energy of open intelligence, and there's not a specific one that we need to aim for. Sometimes we feel, we recognize open intelligence and then we describe it as something, which also is helpful in terms of gaining confidence in open intelligence. Yet if we make it into something like, oh, it should always feel calm and restful and clear, and not confused and maybe anxious or whatever we would label, then we suddenly make it into something that we need to reach, or certain kind of experiences or states that we need to have. So that's why the short moments are so powerful, because if we take short moments, no matter where we are, no matter what we're feeling and what's going on, and we take them and we don't look how they appear. So we don't focus on the quality of a short moment. It's more we focus on, where we don't even need to focus on the quantity of the short moments, the frequency. We just take short moments whenever we remember to do so. I always like that kind of instructions, whenever we remember to do so. And obviously it's helpful to show up to certain meetings like these, and read the books or listen to the talks. And some of you are going through the 12 empowerments, these kinds of ways of reminding us in a more effortless way that open intelligence is naturally present right here. with whatever is occurring. So negative, positive, and neutral data flow on by. Shining with open intelligence is pure beneficial energy. So then everything, like also the positive data, the data we feel are open intelligence, and then the data that we feel need to change. All these data flow on by in the space of open intelligence, as open intelligence is dynamic energy. And also this shining with open intelligence is pure beneficial energy. More and more becomes obvious that open intelligence and all these data are the energy of open intelligence and the dynamic energy, and is filled with beneficial potency, and that gets released, released rather than when we don't focus on the labels. That's as simple as that. Then it's the liveliness of who we are, of our being, all these kinds of data, whether we label them as anxiety, depression, or anything at all. So we rest as the energy of all these data, open intelligence. So all data is the self-arising benefit of open intelligence. This is the education in the nature of mind. It's a shift in how we use our mind, really, from the focus on the content of the mind to the space in which everything appears as its dynamic energy. We are gentle with ourselves, allowing open intelligence and its beneficial powers to become obvious very naturally in their own perfect way, recognizing that there really is no final point to arrive at, no destination at all. So that's the gaining confidence in open intelligence. It's that first sense we're gentle with ourselves. Sometimes there's this metaphor also when we see a child learn to walk, it falls, and then we encourage it further. When Rinpoche once said that, and I could understand that it's not like, okay, we gain confidence in open intelligence, we learn to walk, basically. We take short moments and have support, and it's gentle and loving, rather than we should be recognizing open intelligence. I should understand everything. So the way, just short moments whenever we remember to do so, and having the support to make it more and more obvious. And then, yeah, there's no final point to arrive at. It forever deepens. So that's actually, that's the beauty of it all as well. Open intelligence's beneficial powers just grow brighter and brighter without end. Never underestimate the power of a short moment. Yeah, a short moment can deepen forever. That's really powerful. And but there's more and more confidence that there's no doubt. When I look at my experience, there's no doubt that there's open intelligence and something that is ultimately reliable. And nothing can really take that away. No experience or nothing that occurs in life. Okay, maybe we'll pause here. Yeah. And we have time for questions and shares as well. Nice to see everyone. Great. Love to hear how it's going for you, and if you have a question, like to share how your last weeks were.
Oh, Bob, sorry, I, I muted you before. Let me unmute you. There was some background noise. Let me see here. Ask to unmute. Can you unmute on your end? Does that work? Click the microphone symbol there.
We should be good now.
We are.
Okay,
Great.
cool. So, in the presentation, it said something about the nature of mind. I might be misquoting this. The nature of mind or open intelligence is the nature of mind. And of course, I have been doing awareness using that. And I think you explained to me, Jochen, that Candace had started to use open, is this correct? Started to use open intelligence.
Hmm.
Is that uh, a a different way of saying awareness?
Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
So um it does it make any difference? Like I'll say flawless awareness. And I've been using open intelligence also. So it can be interchanged or I'm obviously
Hmm.
anything, yeah, it can be interchanged. So it's working for me. It's not a big transition, but is it preferable on some level to say to have a short moment of open intelligence as as uh, instead of resting as awareness?
Whatever gives you access to the direct experience is perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Um,
Sometimes I try to explain that, but sometimes it's a little difficult to do that in an email exchange.
yeah.
Uh, Sometimes awareness can feel like passive, as in observing or witnessing. And so the term intelligence shows more the agency, the potency, the capacity of awareness or open intelligence to act. Because when we rest, right, rest as awareness or rest as open intelligence, we also recognize that we have a greater capacity to respond to what's happening around us and inside of us. And so the term or using intelligence was a way of expressing that aspect, like that lucid knowing, that power to know and to make beneficial decisions.
I think the word intelligence, like so many things we've been entrained to to start believing in over many years. Intelligence means like, you know, it strikes a chord of um it that that person is an intelligent person. Whatever that means. They have book knowledge or and I'm that's fine. I'm not into that. But one of the things the nature open intelligence and nature of mind is resting in awareness or is flawless awareness nature of mind too?
Yeah.
Could you kind of go into that as the nature of mind? Because what what happens is I start associating, there are so many definitions of what mind is, and things I've studied along the way, incredible amounts of, interpretations of it. So could you maybe go into a little more detail about what that actually, what the nature of mind and how mind is defined? Is that is that a clear question?
Yes. Great.
Oh, okay.
Kati, do you have a definition handy?
Well, yeah, the nature of mind, open intelligence and awareness are all synonymous. I think the most powerful definition is, of course, in your own direct experience. However, the like open intelligence, awareness, nature of mind, all of that doesn't really necessarily have a definition as one thing, but it definitely includes everything and isn't one thing. And when you and the most valuable definition is your own direct experience and what's looking right now. So when we see like awareness, not or on being aware, being not aware, open intelligence, the power to know. Sometimes we are confused, not confused. So all these labels, they all appear as the dynamic energy of this intelligence, of this awareness. So it is inclusive of everything. And it's the basis of all, or it's the nature of everything. And mind is not something right here. It's like the basic space of mind that includes you and me. It includes everything we are sharing here. So we are recognizing this intelligence, this space of awareness in every moment as everything, because everything is the energy of that. And once that's more and more recognized, it's recognized as the basis of everything, and it's in everything. And then it has qualities, it has aspects that you could say are a definition of open intelligence, of awareness, which is entirely beneficial. That can get into a concept and ideas, obviously. So it is not really so, something to discuss necessarily. But what, again, when in your own experience, you can see that when there's clarity. Rinpoche has used initially the word awareness. I guess that's how we met the teaching, when it was called awareness. And then she moved to a term clarity. That was just short-lived. But it was clear. I could totally relate to why that was used. And then went to open intelligence. And when she used the term awareness, it was all the data were points of view. Yeah, points, the vast view where all the points of view appear. And as the view, and then it went to data. So it was powerful actually to go through all these ways of, in the end, all the texts and teachings, they actually evoke the nature of mind, evoke open intelligence rather than explain it or describe it. So obviously words are used and they're very evocative. But Rinpoche always said, well, she wanted to move from awareness because we have all kinds of ideas. But initially she said she wanted to say even love. She said everyone would be it would just completely be, when we think everything is love, we think, well, I don't feel love. We might not, we are angry at someone, where's the love, right? Then we feel wrong about it. So, but once you instinctively recognize open intelligence, I would be up for calling it love, really. I could exactly see. Then that's a nice definition, but it's so confusing. I would have not understood it if I was introduced to it as love. Or, I mean, would have maybe understood it instinctively for a moment, but then got lost in where's the love now? Yeah, so yeah, these terms are ways to evoke that what is. And it's very purposeful, but everything is it, like awareness, like Johan then also confirmed, like if that really resonates, then that's perfect. But being open to this open intelligence, it has some kind of power there.
Mhm.
Opening aspects of this nature of mind, awareness, open intelligence that reveals itself in our own direct experience. Yeah. Because right here, right now, we are recognizing, we can take a short moment, recognize open intelligence just as it is. We don't even have to feel very clear. And just showing up, which I also like. Sometimes we don't even need to take short moments. Rinpoche said way in the beginning also, just show up. No, just show up and listen, hear the words, hear the teachings. It'll just become more and more obvious in one's own experience. Okay, that was an hour.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Maybe we can, yeah, I'd love to hear, well, we can hear other questions or shares how the short moments are going.
I can share.
Okay,
Can I?
Sylvia, nice to meet you.
So I was in the teaching a few years ago, and I think we met with Jochen for sure in Livorno in the Heraldo company. And then I left the teaching, but I recognized that without the support of the form and stay, it's not actually possible for me to improve the recognition of open intelligence. So I must say that to be out of the teaching for sometimes make me now more committed to choose open intelligence instead of that. And since 1 year ago that I start again, I can see many beneficial changes in my life, especially with the relationship with my son that is 22, so it's quite challenging to deal with him. And but especially in these last few weeks, the relationship has improved a lot in terms of relaxation. And because I was able to change my relationship towards him, he changed. He changes also, with me. I am in Sardinia for a brief holiday with my husband. He didn't want to come, my son, but he just sent a picture that he bought a little present for me. and, and this didn't happen for for a long time. So I am very grateful to be part of the community and to have the chance to be here. So I have to thank all the trainers, Ziji Rinpoche, and the community that make this possible. And any share is always, so beneficial for me as well. Any participant bring a lot of beneficial, how to say, empower for me. Sorry for my English, and thank you.
That's beautiful. Yes, thank you for sharing. These are then the real practical benefits, right? When we see in our lives that the relationships, that there's a change. So that's really where it becomes obvious how it's beneficial, open intelligence. Yeah, thank you for sharing. Great. Anyone else would like to share or ask? Yes, Bill?
Last night, I watched a video of you from 10 years ago talking in Goa. I recommend everyone do that to just see how Kathy was 10 years ago.
That's great.
And that's all I will say about that.
Okay. That's a good one. That was at our center in Goa. Yeah, 10 years ago. Wow, yeah. I have to listen to it myself, actually. Nice. Good. Mhm.
I must say, you seem softer now and more radiant in a certain way. It was a different sort of a vibe, and maybe it was just the topic and stuff of that talk. I don't know, but you see, I don't know. That was a thought I had about it. Anyway, blah
Of
blah blah.
course, of course. We sometimes spoke to around 200 people, so it was could have a certain effect. Mm. Yeah, great. Yeah, since the pandemic, we don't operate that center anymore, but it was a good place for people to come to stay easily for retreats. We did the 12 empowerments there in 2 weeks. So people joined like in groups and went through the 12 empowerments each day. Then we had open meetings. That's where the talks are recorded. And then you hear also participants' shares there. We always had some shares, people doing the empowerments or having done them, and share like how life changes. Yeah, so but it was a good place to be and to share the teachings. Great. Any other? Natalie, yes.
Okay, hi everyone, and I'm very glad to be here again. I have been traveling and I had a very interesting experience and also wonderful. Actually, I had the great pleasure to be able to meet Jane in person.
Oh, nice.
And this is really nice when it's possible. I was so happy to have a real meeting with in real life with someone of our community. So it was so interesting, so wonderful. And so when I started the training, of course, I had been meditating and I had other teachings before, Buddhist doctrine teachings. But since I have encountered you and the short moments, I had quite a well, I was quite at home. It's not that I had lots of outside triggers, and so while doing the wonderful writing work of the 12 empowerment, I could be quite inward. But then I had been invited by my brother 2 weeks in Chicago, and again I had been during these weeks quite outwardly focused because we did a lot of things together, and I visited and went to museum and I walked outside, and so I was quite looking outside, and I remember to take short moments. But I have been so my brother talked a lot of politics and I had to listen to him, and so I listened to him. We never had such an encounter. I'm 66, he's 63. We never had such an opportunity as adults to be together. So we both wanted to be together. And I was very much involved in listening and thinking, and it has not been my focus during the last decades. And sometimes I was mentioning that I would get a little bit, not annoyed, but impatient. So I would be reminded to take a short moment. Then again, I would open and feel love and well openness and interest. But then, so again, I had this doubt. Am I just dull, or my awareness or open intelligence became uh, um, dimmed by all these data, because I started to think and to get interested and curious about all these thinkings, various ways of thinking. And then I think I touched basis again, like nothing is better than short moments of open intelligence. All these people fighting, making war, just, but I don't know. It's as if it's a little bit difficult for me to melt this. I mean, it's important also probably in our world, not just to be eaten by I don't know whom, or manipulated, or even though I don't care so much, I must say, but and so the melting, the encounter between these conscious intellectual thinking, this first way of thinking, and the other one, short moment. I don't know if I manage so well to. I don't know. Am I clear? Maybe not. Yes.
Yes.
To
Bring it
blend.
together, so to speak.
Voilà. I have everything swollen in open intelligence, into open intelligence. So it's half of a question, half of a statement.
Share.
Maybe you can enlighten me.
Of course. Yeah. Well, this is actually powerful, because when going through the 12 empowerments, you recognize open intelligence, and you're very focused on taking short moments and then going through the whole process. And it feels like it's almost like there's an outside world, and there's a more like short moments with one's own direct experience. And then like you had your experience being out there, being maybe more involved with family and with things. And then it feels like, oh, I have to go back to the open intelligence. And you made this kind of, yeah, how does it come together? Or maybe at times you could see short moments come, and it's more actually there, even though you're out there, maybe interested in listening to discussions and views and opinions and museums and but it's more and more like, and that was in my experience just from gaining confidence, I'll put it into that term, is that more and more is pervades also everything, like how to feel completely in the world, so to speak, which is really also open intelligence. There's no less. It feels initially less when we are engaged in like lots of other things. And that's where the four mainstays are kind of helpful, because they recharge again and again. Like coming here, we feel recharged, and going out, it feels like it dwindles a bit away when we are interacting or out there. But less and less, that is, I remember exactly the times when initially it felt like, oh, now I'm losing it again a little bit more, and then going back, oh, it's more obvious. And then that at one point is like you actually, nothing is really coming together or going apart, right, ever. But it feels like that. And so that's normalizing to actually say, yeah, it does feel like that. And less and less that will feel like that.
Okay.
And
And then there is the interaction. So thank you, first of all, for that, the answer. And then there is the worldly interaction with people. For example, my brother would tell me, showing me a group of people praying outside, in a kind of obvious manner in Chicago. Said, and do you see this? And could this happen in France? And said, okay, no, in France it couldn't, but wanting me, waiting for me to say something about it. And well, it's not that I have anything to say. I mean, if I remember a short moment at that moment, at that very moment, well, I will tell him something that he will he will think crazy. I mean, everything is mind open manifestation and love, and said, hmm? Yeah, well,
I can so relate. I also remember, especially I think the starkest contrast for me when, we met the teaching in India, right? So we spent like weeks and months in India, and then I would come home to my family where nobody talks awareness. It's like it's not on anyone's radar. And so, initially I tried to like just listen, just listen, don't say anything. Um, and sometimes I did say something and it was really awkward. And I think it was especially awkward when I tried to explain to people what I was doing and how I see the world. Um, and it really, I like Kati used the word confidence. I think that's all really that happens over time. It's just that I I felt more confident with being quiet
yeah,
or with saying something weird, or also with just going in there, going into the descriptions and say, oh, yeah, actually, that would be an unusual experience in France. Like, I don't know, I'm just making this up. Um, but where I didn't feel like the need to somehow uphold my perspective in the conversation. I can just flow along and have a conversation about data ultimately. And
okay.
yeah, so but it's I think just most of all to say it's such a normal experience to having difficulty initially of it's almost like reconciling two completely different perspectives and approaches to live life. What I find today is that this way of life subsumes any other way of life easily. So, but without trying, that's, I think, initially I wanted to do it right. And I wanted to also honor my own practice and not get lost and not say anything wrong and not make myself look weird or have my family think I'm even weirder than they anyway think I am. Um, so yeah, just continue with short moments and the one thing that I noticed that was really helpful is that no matter what happens on like with words or with topics, I can always maintain an open heart. And I
Yes,
can always remain in like a whenever I feel tension, it's a perfect opportunity to just relax. Just relax into like this opening into the relationship. And whatever comes from there is like I don't, I'm so happy to talk about whatever people in my family want to talk about. Um, and yeah, so
yeah.
I, so it's normal. It will become easier. And if anything, then I would say integrating the really short moments of this opening and being we had this topic a little bit in the newsletter of just being present and allowing that space of open intelligence to be the space in which the weird interaction arises and resolves. And in that way today, if that's maybe a hopeful picture of the future, I feel completely comfortable in any family constellation and um, just feel much more at ease and I think just able to be present with people, however they are, whatever it is that they want to, that
Yes,
they
sure.
want to talk about. And over the years, I think it's also become more clear to them, how this relationship is evolving and shifting without us ever needing like to talk about it or do anything about it really. But it's beautiful that you had this chance to reconnect with your brother. Like you
Yeah.
said, you never had this opportunity as adults. I had this 2 years ago when around the illness of my mother. I lived with my brother and his family for a few months, and we really got to know each other as adults. We got much closer, and he has his life and his focus in life and the family and like all the like the I don't know typical things that I would probably have be doing today if I hadn't gone to India. And so my life is very different, but we found so many points of similarities in who we are and our upbringing, and so it was really very sweet and yeah, just very sweet to reconnect with him that
Yeah.
way.
Fantastic. And just one thing for us, at the end, my brother told me, well, if everyone was like you, the world would surely be a better place to live in. So,
Ah,
nice.
Sweet.
Yeah.
beautiful. He recognized that in you. Yeah.
Mm.
Voilà. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you. Yeah. Anyone else who has another question or share before we?
I think that what Johan said about opening the heart, that was sweet right there. And that's what, you know, these opportunities when people, especially in the family, disagree or or have opinions that are quite very, very opinionated, and you just sit there. I speak to my wife about this because, we both have been confronted with this with family members, and they're beautiful people, but there are certain opinions they have, and the thing that I've learned from this is that that's all they are. You make more out of them than is another story you're telling about how they could believe that and this could believe, and that's what happens now, I think, with the climate of the country, and the politics. They're all, if I can have my own thoughts about things, then why can't they? And you just embrace the differences. That's what I do now. Embrace those differences, and I'm doing it more and more, and that is very peaceful.
Mm.
That is very nice. No argument. You don't have to say my way is right, your way is wrong. It's just what they're into. That's all, and you don't make a big deal about it. Not always easy, but it happens that way. And since I've been in this teaching, which really isn't a long time, um, it just makes it a lot easier. And it's interesting because there was a story that there's a doctor he's a medical doctor who's very versed in a lot of different types of natural things. So this lady came to him and she said, "Oh, I've been to all these doctors and no one helped me." And he said to her, "Well, if you hadn't been to all those people and they all did a little bit for you, whatever that was, then that's how you got to here. And I hope that I can help." And that's what I say about all the things I've studied. It'd be easy to say I wasted my time with this and that, and then I finally found this. But they all, I don't know, created a foundation, so to speak, that I could be ready for this teaching.
Mm.
And that's how I see it now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Yeah. That's perfect. Mm. And the opening of the heart, that's beautiful. Yeah. I like Rinpoche just one time said, oh, many times said, I'd rather be happy than right. It's an expression, I did sort of, but it really is the opening of the heart and being able to practice. It's such an opportunity then. So it's nice. Yeah. Mm. That's good. And Holly, how are you doing? Nice to see you there.
Doing well. Yeah, I appreciate all the shares and what Natalie shared was just kind of what I've been trying to integrate in the last 2 weeks. Seeing, I think I emailed you and I said I was seeing data as over here and open intelligence is over here, even though it says over and over in the text that data is the dynamic energy of open intelligence. It's just a matter of like getting past the language that I've gotten so used to and created a whole world around. It's so interesting because it feels like such a subtle practice, but the paradigm shift is radical. I mean, it's that is just I can't even sum it up any more than that. It's just so subtle. So yeah, just experiencing challenging data. That's a little harder for me to say that there's the beneficial intelligence in all data. I think that's the hardest part for me is to really appreciate that in challenging personalities or challenging circumstances. And I know that's not something I can get intellectually. It's just something I have to experience. So I'm just keeping on,
That's great. Yes.
waiting for that challenging data.
That's great. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah. That has some ease with it.
I
Yeah.
hope so.
Yeah, it's felt. Great. Thank you for sharing. Hmm. Good. Anyone else before we end? Happy to hear. Okay. Thank you, everyone. It was good to be here together and
Thank you.
see you soon again.
Nice to see you all.
Thank you.
I
Great
have a
rest of your
question.
day. Oh, yeah.
Natalie, yeah.
Oh, yeah. There is no more meetups on Mondays, right?
Not at the moment, right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Although we actually said we will do a Wednesday meetup. Might do next week. Yeah. Okay, we'll announce that. Okay,
Thank you.
good. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye,
you.
everyone.
Ciao, grazie. Thank you.
Grazie. Ciao, ciao.
Grazie a tu.